Have you ever wondered why smiling through pain is praised like it's a superpower? Why you just think positive is shoved down our throats as the ultimate life hack? The truth is, positivity isn't always the cure. It can be a trap that convinces us to ignore our pain, hide our struggles, and fake our way through life. Today, we're diving deep into the cult of positivity. And by the end, you'll see why this seemingly harmless mindset might actually be toxic. Imagine growing up in a world where your feelings are never really valid unless they're happy ones. Sad, angry, anxious. Too bad. Fake a smile, swallow it, move on. That's the promise of the positivity cult. They tell you, focus on the good, think positive. You'll attract success. Sounds simple, right? But what if I told you that this mindset isn't just flawed, it's dangerous because it convinces people to suppress real emotions that need attention, that need acknowledgement? Have you noticed how often you scroll social media and see people posting motivational quotes, smiling, winning, achieving, always happy? You start comparing yourself. You think, why am I not like that? That's not just comparison. It's psychological pressure. The cult of positivity doesn't make you stronger. It makes you feel weak for feeling human. Feeling sadness, doubt, or frustration suddenly becomes shameful. Here is a question. When was the last time someone told you it's okay to feel bad? Truly bad, not just a little stressed. Rare, right? That's the power of the positivity cult. It shapes our beliefs so subtly that we start policing our own emotions. And here's the kicker. People who buy into this mindset often double down, pretending even harder to be happy. It becomes performative. Life becomes a stage. And mental exhaustion. That's inevitable. Let's break it down. The first toxic trap of forced positivity is avoidance. Think about it. When we're told to stay positive during tough times, what do we actually do? We avoid the problem. We ignore the fear. We pretend it doesn't exist. And ignoring reality never solved anything. Pain, trauma, anxiety, they don't disappear because you clap your hands and whisper affirmations. They grow silently, like a hidden storm. Have you ever tried to explain your struggles to someone obsessed with positivity? You know what they say? Just focus on the bright side. Think happy thoughts. It could be worse. It sounds harmless, but it's dismissive. It tells you your feelings are wrong. You're doing it wrong. That's not support. That's manipulation dressed in optimism. It's emotional gaslighting. And here's the irony. The people spreading this are often convinced they're helping, but help without acknowledgement is a weapon in disguise. Here's a story. A friend of mine lost a loved one. I watched as well-meaning people surrounded them, saying, "Stay positive. Life goes on." Think about the good memories. On the surface, it seems kind, but underneath, it's pressure to mask grief, to bury real emotion. My friend later confessed that these words made the pain worse. They felt guilty for mourning. They felt isolated. This is the subtle toxicity of the positivity cult. It shames real human experiences. And it's not just about grief. It's everywhere. Work, stress, don't complain. Relationships failing, stay positive. Sick, cheer up. Mental health struggles, think happy. It's a relentless push to put on a mask, and over time this forced happiness becomes a cage. You're trapped, performing for others, afraid to show the cracks. And guess what? The cracks don't disappear, they explode when you least expect it. Let's talk about science. Research in psychology calls this phenomenon toxic positivity. It's linked to increased stress, suppressed emotions, and lower resilience. Ironically, people who force themselves to be positive often become less capable of coping with real challenges. Why? Because they never learn to process emotions. They never confront the hard stuff. They just fake it. And in the long run, fake positivity is worse than facing reality. Now, here's something curious. Even successful people unknowingly fall into this trap. Look at social media. Influencers, self-help gurus, celebrities, always glowing, always achieving, always smiling. It seems aspirational, but behind the scenes, many struggle with anxiety, depression, or burnout. The audience sees perfection. They don't see the human struggle. And that gap fuels the cult of positivity. We chase an illusion and blame ourselves for failing to reach it. So, why do we fall for it? Why is forced positivity so seductive? Because it promises control. Life feels messy, chaotic, unpredictable. But positivity cults sell us an idea. If you just think right, behave right, act happy, you can steer life like a ship. And for a moment, it works. We feel powerful, but real control doesn't come from ignoring feelings. It comes from acknowledging them, processing them, and acting with awareness. Here's another trap. Guilt. Toxic positivity doesn't just pressure us to smile. It punishes us for pain. Feeling sad or frustrated suddenly becomes a moral failure. You hear negativity attracts negativity, or you're creating your own reality. Subtle, right? But it's cruel. It's like saying, your suffering is your fault, not life's reality. And the truth is, life isn't always fair. Emotions aren't immoral judgments. Pain isn't punishment. Yet the cult convinces us otherwise. Let's get practical. How do you break free from this trap? First, stop listening to phrases that dismiss your emotions. Words like stay positive aren't always helpful. Replace them with, it's okay to feel this. This is hard. And I acknowledge it. Radical honesty with yourself is the first step. Stop performing happiness. Stop measuring yourself against curated illusions. Accept the chaos. Accept your pain. Accept the full spectrum of being human. Second, embrace authenticity. Real growth doesn't come from pretending. It comes from facing discomfort head-on. Cry when you need to cry. Express anger when it's justified. Sit with sadness without guilt. And notice something strange. When you stop pretending, people respect you more. Authenticity attracts real connection. Forced positivity only attracts shallow admiration. There's a difference between being admired and being understood. And here's the paradox. Acknowledging pain can actually lead to genuine positivity. Not fake smiles, not hollow affirmations, but real, resilient happiness. When you confront your emotions, process them, and act consciously, positivity becomes a byproduct, not a demand. It's not a mask, it's a result. And this is the secret the cult doesn't want you to see. Have you noticed how kids play? They cry, they scream, they throw tantrums, they laugh uncontrollably. No one tells them to stay positive. They experience the full spectrum of emotion naturally. And that's what we forget as adults. Positivity cults make us forget. They train us to filter, censor, and suppress. But real life isn't filtered. And happiness that ignores reality is fragile. Here's the reality. Life is messy. Failure is unavoidable, and that's okay. Accepting this truth doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong. It makes you resilient. It gives you permission to live fully without masks. Toxic positivity asks you to deny life. Real growth asks you to face it. Real happiness emerges from confrontation, not avoidance. Think about this. Every time you feel ashamed for sadness, anxious for anxiety, frustrated for frustration, you're paying the price of the cult. You're trading authenticity for appearances. And here's the kicker. No one else is judging you as harshly as you are. The world doesn't need your forced smile. It needs your real self. And real self isn't curated. It's raw, messy, unpredictable, alive. And this is why it's urgent to recognize the cult of positivity. Because if you don't, you'll spend a lifetime chasing illusions. You'll hide pain, mask failure, and feel guilty for being human. You'll admire everyone else's happiness while despising your own real emotions. And eventually, the cracks will appear. They always do, and when they do, the fall is hard. Much harder than it needed to be. So here's the challenge. Start noticing the difference between encouragement and dismissal, between support and pressure, between real growth and forced happiness. When someone says, "Stay positive," ask yourself, is this helping me process or just pushing me to perform? Awareness is power. Awareness is freedom. And freedom is the antidote to the cult of positivity. Finally, understand this. Feeling bad isn't failure. Feeling vulnerable isn't weakness. Facing reality isn't negativity. It's courage. And courage is the true path to happiness. Not the empty smiles of a forced mindset, but the resilience of someone who's been through the storm and survived, who has felt every emotion, confronted every fear, and come out intact on the other side. So, if you're tired of pretending, tired of faking, tired of living by someone else's rules of happiness, start today. Acknowledge your feelings. Give yourself permission to feel. Connect authentically, and watch what happens when you stop being a member of the cult of positivity and start being fully human. Remember, life isn't about smiling through the pain. Life is about feeling through it, about confronting it, about transforming it. And that's where true happiness lives. Not in a forced mindset, but in authentic resilience. Stop apologizing for your emotions. Stop masking your pain. Stop worshiping the illusion of constant positivity. The world doesn't need your fake smile. It needs your real, raw, powerful self. And when you embrace that, you step out of the cult. You reclaim your humanity. You reclaim your freedom. You reclaim your life. Now, ask yourself, are you ready to stop pretending? To face reality? To feel everything without shame? To live fully, authentically, unapologetically? Because once you do, you'll discover something incredible. Happiness doesn't chase you. It follows you. Naturally, inevitably, powerfully. And that's a life worth living. This is the truth they don't want you to see. The cult of positivity is seductive. It promises control, happiness, and approval. But the price is your authenticity, your freedom, your humanity. And when you pay it, you lose more than you gain. Real growth, real joy, real connection, they can only thrive outside the cult. Only when you dare to be fully human. It's time to choose. Masks or reality. Forced smiles or authentic emotions. Empty advice or lived experience. And once you choose reality, you'll see how freeing it is to finally stop pretending, to finally stop performing, to finally live without fear of being imperfect, vulnerable, human. Because the truth is simple. You can't force happiness. You can't control life with mindset alone, but you can embrace yourself, your pain, your struggle, and your growth. And in that, you find a kind of happiness that no fake positivity could ever give. So break the cycle, step out of the cult. Feel deeply, fully, unapologetically, laugh when it's funny, cry when it hurts, rage when it's unjust, celebrate when it's beautiful. And in all of it, live truly, fiercely, honestly, because that's what it means to be alive. Stop waiting for permission to feel. Stop seeking approval for your emotions. Start living. Start feeling. Start reclaiming your life from the cult of positivity. And remember, the most powerful thing you can do isn't smile through the storm. It's stand in the storm, fully aware, fully human, fully free, because happiness isn't a mask. It's a consequence, a byproduct of authenticity, and authenticity starts with courage. So, what will you choose today? Masks or freedom? Pretend happiness or real life? The cult is everywhere, but you don't have to be a part of it. Step out, step up, be real, be raw, be human, and in that, you'll finally be free.